are you? I want to talk about material intelligence today on the occasion of Uranus moving back into the sign of Taurus. Okay. Uranus is a very far out planet, moves very slowly. So it goes around one sign in 8 years, 7 to 8 years. So 2018, Uranus moved into Taurus and it is back in Taurus. This year will be in Taurus until April of 2026. And basically between 2018 to 2026, this time period, we have been learning material intelligence. Uranus is the planet astrologically that corresponds to intelligence. Intelligence in this definition is whatever the edge of your consciousness is and your capacity to sit yourself there, locate yourself at the edge of your consciousness and understand that's where the connections are made. That's where your network is. That's where you're able to connect to higher logic. Some people call Uranus and the corresponding Aquarius archetype the algorithm of God. You know, the algorithm, people love to hate it, but it is the algorithm. What is meant to gain traction will gain traction, and it's not necessarily working in a way that's going to make fully sense to our brains. Uranus is not fully comprehensible because it is always working at the edge of itself, which is to say, it is always bringing down the next level of the thing that can be articulated. That's why Uranus and Aquarius also correspond to geniuses, correspond to the new frontier. And everyone just is talking about it. This new technologies, the new frontier, new earth, whatever stage of life, whatever you're into, there's an edge right now. And that's because Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius. We're not talking about that today, but we're talking about the ruler of Pluto and Aquarius, which is the planet Uranus. Okay. Now, wherever Uranus goes in the transiting sky of astrology, it's going to send shockwaves into this area so that we can find ourselves at the edge of it in order to move beyond the known. Aquarius and Uranus, these are archetypes of the edge in all areas, not just the edge so that you can break free from something and bring down the new best thing, but it's also where you're a loner. It's where you find you could be outcasted. It's where you find you don't fit in. These are all kind of one and the same. So, whatever zodiac sign Uranus is moving through, we're going to get this flavor. You're going to feel simultaneously at the edge of your seat and also ousted. Okay. So, what's been going on then in the sign of Taurus since 2018? Where have you been at the edge of your seat and like you might be being ostracized or out, pushed out? Well, Taurus is in what you have. Okay, people say that Taurus is about what you value and money, and it is that thing. It is those things, but it is those things because Taurus represents what you have access to right here and right now in terms of resources. That can be truly anything. It can be a non-material resource that you know how to create, right? Taurus is about the thing that you can rely on. Taurus is about self-reliance, okay? Self-reliance. And the choices that we make in order to sustain the person that we are in our every micro movements. Taurus is like choosing vanilla ice cream because you like vanilla ice cream. It's not that big of a deal. It's a preference, but you're also going to be stubborn about it. You're not going to spend your money on strawberry ice cream if you don't want strawberry ice cream. It's very clear. Taurus also isn't trying to please other people. It is a Venus ruled sign. It's very open, but it's open to its own self. It's masturbatory, okay? Taurus is self-contained. Okay, so when we see Uranus in Taurus over 8 years, we are at the edge of how we know what we have. And to that end, we're also at the edge of who we have known ourselves to be based on what we have, right? What is our role in commerce? What is our role in relationships when we can provide for ourselves these things? And we're used to providing this for ourselves, or we're used to accessing this resource in this way because that's been what we have. And then Uranus comes into Taurus, and suddenly we are at the edge of our seat in the way we've normally been able to access the thing that allows us to, enjoy our life. And if we're not working at a level of enjoyment to sustain our life and to keep our flesh alive. Taurus is about a ripe fruit. Okay. You don't want that fruit to rot. When it's rotting, it goes into the Scorpio axis, which is the opposite sign of Taurus. Okay. You want to eat the fruit when it's ripe, and you want to tend to the garden so that the fruits will grow, that you will have access to them to eat them. Okay. These are all Taurus things. When Uranus goes into Taurus, you are pushed to the edge of how you know how to pick your fruit, eat your fruit, grow your garden. It's not to say you don't have those things anymore, but you are right at the edge of these things. And I think, those first years of Uranus and Taurus, 2018, 2020, 21, 22, like that was wild because the ground of how we knew to rely on ourselves suddenly shifted. And it's not always traumatic, although Uranus is the planet of trauma. It is the planet of great shocks, but it's the same side of the coin, or it's the same coin, other side of the coin to intelligence, trauma and intelligence. Because what happens in trauma is you shatter. There's an identity that gets shattered. But with that, you can see a different side, right? I'm not advocating here for trauma, but I'm saying the intelligence of trauma is often to keep you safe. It's often to like bifurcate something so that you can understand it from a completely different fractal, right? Like that it's kind of like creating a whole new neural pathway, right? And then you can access Uranian intelligence without trauma as well. But if you think about it, sometimes if you are just hit with a big Uranian shockwave, even if it's not a bad thing, like when you suddenly see the world a very different way, that can induce a sort of trauma in the long term because suddenly you're not going to talk the same way. Suddenly you're going to have, new ideas and opinions, which might then oust you from where you are. Okay. So again, putting this all back into Taurus. I think about things like the nervous system in our physical body because our physical body is very Taurus, right? Like what makes us comfortable, what's going to keep us alive. Uranus moving there into Taurus, into our physical body and the like materiality of our physical body, the ripeness of our physical body. I know a lot of people, including myself, who got really into nervous system healing. The intelligence, the electricity of Uranus in Taurus is very much so about the wiring of the body. You can think of Chinese medicine and acupressure, acupuncture points, right? The energetics of our physical body, right? And the intelligence that moves within those energetics, the healing potential of the intelligence that we know. Like I also think of like someone who does sound healing, right? The vibration, Uranus is like a vibration. It's a very specific vibration that can move matter, right? Sound is just matter also, but on a very different frequency. So these are all Uranian topics. I'm also a painter. I make paint, and 2018 was really the start of a big journey for me in taking my painting practice very seriously, and it brought me into so deeply. Like, I went into grad school, I quit grad school because I realized I could just smash rocks in my backyard and extract their pigment. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need to get so academic about it. In fact, I was so focused and have been very focused on the intelligence of the material world itself that doesn't need to be over intellectualized. Uranus and Aquarius are intellectual signs in that they are detached, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a traditionally academic setting. In fact, traditional academia is far more of a Saturnian perspective right now. I would say the more Uranian way of doing things with Uranus and Taurus is like social media sharing, is you know, trusting in the moment to moment expression of reality itself, which points us right back to material intelligence. Okay, so there's something about material intelligence that's very, very important. And I think, for some people, this comes through interest in Bitcoin, investing in, right, the merging of uh, money and the like tangible currency resource into something technological, into something more vibrational, energetic, something that doesn't actually exist, but you are making currency out of it. You know what I mean? These are Uranus in Taurus representations. Cryptocurrencies, non-fungible tokens, these types of things that I don't actually know very much about. But these are all Uranus in Taurus signatures that I think we're going to be coming back to and revisiting in quite a big way between now and April of 2026. And it's really big. This upcoming new moon we're having in Scorpio, there's a kite that's forming, and there'll be an opposition between the new moon and Uranus in Taurus. We've also had several planets come to oppose Uranus, although it was in Gemini during those oppositions. My point here is the Uranian, the fact that we're going to be at the edge of our seats for a while with this shift back into Taurus means that being at the edge of our seats now is a much more embodied thing. It's a much more material, like we're looking back into material intelligence in a way over the last 7 months when Uranus has been in Gemini. We were really doubling down on the intelligence of our brains. Not to say, again, that had to look any certain way. In fact, we were moving ourselves out of our old thinking patterns, creating new neural networks, opening up to new possibilities, possibly from just like brand new thoughts, brand new words, brand new considerations, also brand new technologies, new ways of using words. Those are all Uranus and Gemini stuff. And I think a lot of our brains like has been fried a little bit. The speed with which we can work when Uranus is in Gemini is crazy. And then that trine from Pluto is also, so here we are though, having stepped back, everything, all these outer planets are now back in, previous signs, not in these air and fire signs anymore. We're back in the water signs, we're back in the earth signs, and we're back to reality a little bit. Of course, Pluto stays in Aquarius, but Uranus is now back in Taurus. We're moving back into material intelligence. We're moving back into questions of resource and really, I think because it's these last very final degrees of Uranus and Taurus, we are completing this story, integrating what the intelligence of our own resource is. And if you really think about Taurus, it's not about how much money you can make. It's not about all the things you can accumulate so that you can say that you have them and feel safe. It's saying, what is your value in your own existence right now? This has been made difficult because we have Chiron in Aries, which is a signature of really challenging a belief that we even exist, period, full stop. And then Uranus in Taurus is saying, like, what are you worth? like, like you are worth probably something new, probably something you didn't realize or you weren't able to connect to consciously before 2018. There's been a revolution essentially, because that's Uranus within this Taurus area of your life, within how you connect to your own worthiness, connect to your own like weight, even like your physical body, how you eat food, how you like there's been a lot of changes in these areas since 2018, and now we're in these final months of it, which again, I'm trying to say here, I think there is time here for integration, for culmination, and it's about, at this point, for me, leaning into material intelligence, talking about your nervous system, talking about the rocks I'm going to crush in my backyard to extract the pigment to make my own oil paint. And the intelligence, the resources that we have on Earth itself that remove us potentially from, you know, such a dogmatic reliance on the current structures, which are not self-sustaining. The current structures we have in government, in food production, like nothing is actually self-sustaining. There's so many like stilts that things are being propped up on still right now, in my opinion. And when we realize we can grow food, the intelligence of the land, which there's a reconnection to, there's we can evolve, have a revolution because we do have what we need, right? Like Uranus and Taurus is a reminder that we are like an embodiment of intelligence itself. You know what I mean? It's not just our brains, it's our bodies. Our body's intelligence is telling us something, but the interesting thing with Uranus is it's never just one thing. It's a whole hologram of possibilities. And so your body isn't telling you just one thing, point blank, full stop. It's saying, here's the pattern that's happening in my body. Here's the energetic pathway that's going on right now. Am I gonna reinforce this or am I gonna start retraining this again? Have I probably already been retraining this in my physical body, not just in my mind? So that's really what I wanted to say. I'm gonna make more content about the new moon that's happening in Scorpio, but this is more of just a general piece around Uranus and Taurus. And I really love it. It feels grounding to me, which is very ironic, but I wonder how you're feeling because that Uranus and Gemini, there was just so much quick moving mind stuff. And yes, the Taurus reality got a break because now we have shock waves, electricity signals pumping into Taurus in a way we've had a break for 7 months. But I do think we're returning to this material intelligence and I think it's lovely at the end of the day. Like it's a connection that we have to our own worth that we are just putting back online. We're allowing ourselves to be again at the cutting edge of it and allowing ourselves to bring down new identification with our own bodies with the earth itself. So yeah, that's what I have. I hope you enjoy the next several months. There's a lot going on. But we have a very nice new moon coming up. So again, I'll post about that soon and bye for now.